Alright, so as somebody who I think is one of the first people to have the Heygears Reflex RS because of some kind of glitch in Heygears system, I just wanted to go over my initial unboxing, initial thoughts kind of as someone who is a regular Reflex owner, and just my thoughts on the new machine just with the initial unboxing and initial setup experience. There's a few things that I don't really love about the RS. I haven't printed anything with it, so if it prints as good as the regular Reflex, that's the only thing that really matters to me. So that's yet to be determined. I'm sure it's great on that regard, but there's a few things when it comes to cost cutting and just quality that I'm not super happy with and that I just didn't expect from Heygears. I think like the prime example, the first thing to just kind of point out is just look at the hinges on the RS. Just simple plate steel, it gets the job done, but it's nothing fancy. When you look at the same thing on the regular Reflex, it's like some engineer spent, serious time and thought coming up with this system. It's bespoke. It's just on another level. Another thing is stuff like this, the magnetic temperature and resin level sensor, just comes right out. Got little pad connectors, magnetizes right in there. You have the sluice gate on your resin feeder, so it can actively monitor the resin level and then open the sluice gate as required to allow resin in during printing. On the RS, nothing, no sluice gate, no level monitor or temp sensor. Now, one thing to mention, I do have the PRM, but because, like I mentioned, some kind of glitch in Heygears system, apparently this wasn't even supposed to be sent to me yet. One downside of that is that the heated and PRM vat wasn't included, so I can't use the PRM yet until that shows up. I know that has the heating function also, but I don't see how it's going to add any kind of level sensor or anything like that. There is a little pad back here covered, or a rubber plug that covers something. I can't quite get it out of there. I think it might be a USB port, but I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so no sluice gate. We don't have any kind of paneling to cover this open space back here. We have like exposed plastic rivets and such, and just all of that is the kind of stuff that, after looking at the quality of the original Reflex, it's just on a different level. I mean, you have your plate latch here compared to the RS is just this. Not a horrible solution, just again, not on the level of the original Reflex. What else do we have? Oh, the VAT latch. So for the VAT for the original Reflex, it's got this. I can't take it out because of the sluice gate being closed. Now, I'm sorry if the quality on this is horrible. I'm not a video maker or anything. I'm just using my phone. I just wanted to share my experience and thoughts with the new printer. But basically it has a little rail and then a tab that sticks out, slides in there, and then you have these little things that press down on the plate or vat and lock it in place. Whereas on the RS, just the more standard thumb screw. Not a huge deal at the end of the day. I don't really take the VAT out of most of my printers very often, at least if I can help it. But little things like this do add up to make a difference. Alright, material quality. So everything on the RS is kind of just this powder coat textured plastic or something, it feels like. This feels like metal to me on the original Reflex. Yeah, that's definitely metal. Everything just has this really nice finish. Like, everything is just quality material. When you touch it, it's just noticeably premium. The screen size compared to the RS looks like it has a smaller screen. Yes, it definitely does. I don't know if it's capacitive or which is which, but definitely much smaller screen on the RS. The other thing I really don't like about the RS, it has an external power brick. The original Reflex has an internal power supply. Again, not the end of the world, doesn't make a huge difference in terms of how good does it print, but it's an extra thing that you have to find space for. It's just little things that add up, and like when I first saw the launch stream for this, as soon as I saw it, my first thought was they must have taken everyone talking about how expensive the Reflex was to heart, because this is clearly, in my eyes, built to a price point. Now again, if it prints even 90% as well as the Reflex, the original Reflex, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But personally, I'm just the kind of person, I like premium stuff. I like to buy the best that I can afford. And yeah, I wish that they didn't stoop quite as low as it seems like they has with this one to try and reduce price. I mean, little things like not being able to have an internal power supply. I don't know if there's any engineering reasons behind that, but I feel like that at the very least is something that could have been addressed. Screen size, the hinges, yeah, I mean the plate too. So I mean we have this steel laser etched plate, whereas on the original it's like a sintered plate, which I don't always love actually, because it kind of has a little bit of a texture to it, and when you're trying to clean it with paper towels it often leaves fuzzies behind. So I mean, but the nice thing about the sintered plate is they can make it super accurate and super flat. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this ready to roll and start some prints. Hopefully my PRM vac comes in soon so I can actually get this thing to start pumping out. I'm really interested to test out the speed and see if it is a noticeable difference. I'm also happy to have a little bit of extra space on the plate for this one. I really wish that Heygears would release something larger, like 12, 13 inches. That would just be amazing, so I can get rid of this stupid thing. But, you know, I can dream. Two other things I forgot to mention in my first clip. One other thing about this RS compared to the original that I was kind of upset to see was, and this might be because I'm not even technically supposed to have this yet, maybe it's just not done. I know in the email I got from Heygears they mentioned that because of this glitch and that it wasn't expected to be to me this soon, that there may be issues with the software or bugs with slicing, that kind of stuff. So maybe it's just not implemented yet, but for the original Reflex, the initial startup, it had a guided setup where it has adjustable feet. It would come up on screen and it would have like a 4-corner measurement. You could it would actively guide you to adjusting the feet to make sure that the machine was level. Then it would walk you through like a plate leveling check where it would go down and check the leveling, and if you needed to do any manual adjustment, it would come up on screen. Like, I'll show you, because it does have it on the RS. This is what it looks like. You have your overall plate level, and then each of your 4 corners you can actively adjust the plate leveling, and it gives you tangible, measurable, actual feedback to leveling, not some paper measuring paper friction with, you know, the seat of your pants kind of thing. It's a real leveling measurement, which I'm happy to see that on here. I just wish that it would have the guided walkthrough like the original Reflex did. So the first boot up, it automatically walks you through all that. It walks you through leveling the feet for the machine to be level, walks you through leveling the plate or making sure the plate is leveled because it should be leveled from the factory. But when I booted up mine for the first time, it just went right to the home screen, no kind of guided walkthrough or anything. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, for future Heygears owners that get the PRM that don't read manuals or instructions, when you set your PRM up, take this little cover off, pull the little pre-filter out, and then this white plug here, that's a shipping plug. Take that out. If you leave that in there, it's not going to be able to operate, and you're going to be scratching your head wondering why your PRM's not working. So it is in the manual, but I, like most people, don't always read the manual or instructions. I kind of trust my intuition, but little things like this sometimes are, without reading the manual or knowing, this is the kind of stuff that's easy to miss. Okay, one last clip. So I did speak too soon. After I filmed the last clip, I did the software update on the RS, and it went right into the guided setup. So it was the same as the original Reflex. As you pick your language, connect to the internet, link your Heygears account, do the machine leveling with the feet, and then right now I'm doing the plate leveling check. So it is the same guided setup. If you get your RS soon, make sure you do your software update, and then that should kick you right into the guided setup. So before you do anything crazy or you start printing or anything like that, make sure you do the software update. That'll take you through doing the whole guided setup, making sure everything's level and all that, which obviously is very important. So do that before you do any printing. Alright, and one final clip, I promise this is it, and then I'm done. If anyone wants to see a tutorial video on how I use Blueprint to support models and then export it for printing on other printers, non-Heygears printers, just leave a comment, leave a like on this video, and if I get enough interest, if this video gets any traction at all, considering I'm not a YouTuber and I don't have any kind of following or anything like that, if anyone does want to see a video on how to do that, let me know in the comments, leave a like, and I will show you how I use Blueprint to use Heygears' awesome auto support algorithm to support models and then print them on non-Heygears printers. I have tested it. I've done it with my Mega 8K. I do it with my M5S Pro. It does work great. It works better than Lychee and Chitu box auto supports by far. I was actually very surprised when I first tried it. I thought a lot of the Heygears magic was the printers and the resins themselves, but definitely a large portion of what makes these printers so good is the Blueprint slicer. Normal support tip sizes that you would have to use for models in Chitu box or Lychee. I don't know why. Maybe it's just quantity. I don't know exactly what it is, but you can get away with much smaller support tips using Blueprint than you can with Lychee and Chitu, and that just leads to effortless removal from supports, and it just leaves very small blemishes. You get a higher quality end result. And last thing I just wanted to mention, I do have an Etsy shop. It's Layer Zero Design. I have my own website too. It's layerzerodesign.com. That's my Shopify site. It's kind of a work in progress. I'm still kind of chipping away at it, but I've been busy with Etsy recently, so it's kind of been backburnered for the time being. I do laser cutting and engraving. I also have a 50 or a 60 watt MOPA fiber laser. And then I sell 3D printed miniatures, book nooks, that sort of stuff on my Etsy shop. So if you're someone that is interested in a Heygears and you want to see what an output looks like for yourself before you dive in, you can find me on Etsy, Layer Zero Design. You can buy a resin miniature. I have small 32mm scale miniatures. I sell for like $8, so for a pretty small investment. If you want to see what a Heygears quality miniature looks like for yourself before you buy one, you can find me over there. Alright, and last thing,